Hey guys, it's me Chandrian. So today's we will do the preparation guide for Mavuika. So in here as usual, I will cover about the material, explain the kit as simple as I can, also talk about the build, the themes, and also answer like is she actually good or not, and I will share whatever that I know about her. So yeah, let's get started. As usual in here we will read the first sentence so we kinda know from the perspective of the developer itself. So they actually add the brand new stuff in here and it states burst damage dealer. And furthermore, it said Mauvika is a versatile Pyro damage dealer who can flexibly switch between dealing damage on or off the battlefield. So in very short, it's just like DPS that can work on field and off field, as simple as that. As for material, you can take a look, and here if you want to do test run and story quest, you can even get like the free and like ascension until 60. And yeah, all of the material pretty much already the existing material, except this one from weekly, the one that we will fight dragon. And yeah, I will just show everything, all the material that you need until level 90. And always thanks to Devil Takoyaki. And now let's move into the main stuff, which is the kit. So yeah, basically for the normal and charge attack, nothing really special in here. It's just like you can take a look, the animation is actually pretty fast as a claymore, especially the normal attack. And for the elemental skill, this is mostly her main gimmick, which is her Night Soul itself. So basically, Mavuika have two different modes on elemental skill, hold or tap. So let's start first with the tap. So if you tap your elemental skill, this is mostly for her off-field damage. So when you tap, see in here, this pyro like shower, even you change to another character, you will keep dealing like pyro damage. However, if you decide to hold, this one for the on-field damage. Basically, Mauvika will use this motorcycle so wacky, and then yeah, you can just do any normal charge attack, even plunging to deal pyro damage. So everything convert into pyro damage, and yeah, you can just do a wacky stuff in here by combination normal charge attack and even plunging if you want though. So and additional stuff in here that they put in this state, whenever you want to switch between one another, you can just simply tap. So meaning that this hold and tap, it's only for her initial start of her Night Soul. However, if you're already in the middle of Night Soul and want to switch between one another, just simply tap it. So let's say you're already in here, like motorbike mode, and you want to change back in here, just simply like tap again and it will back in here, and so on. Like you tap again, it will become like motorcycle. So the hold and tap, it's only for her initial start of Night Soul, but afterward you just need to tap scale. As for her elemental burst, it's just very simple. It's just like big nuke, very powerful AoE pyro damage, and that's pretty much it. You see, even in the demo, it's already 500k. It's literally a nuke damage. And in here, of course, that you need to take notes that it will no longer consume Night Soul points, and also it will increase the resistance interrupted. So you should not worry that the animation will kind of get interrupted. No, that 100% will hit most likely. And also is that after you use the burst, it will buff your elemental skill, normal, and charge attack, meaning that your like motorcycle mode, normal, and charge attack will getting stronger in here based on amount of fighting spirit. So yeah, in here we're talking about the highest fighting spirit too. So basically, fighting spirit is the brand new type of energy. So for Mavuika, she's the first character that the burst not using the traditional energy. So basically, energy charge is useless for her, because in here, the way for you to get this fighting spirit is that you need to trigger this condition. So first is that if your nearby party member consume Night Soul points, then yeah, it will give Mauvika the fighting spirit. So meaning that if you use your Silonen skill, it uses Night Soul points, right? Yes, it will give Mauvika's fighting spirit. And second is that when your nearby party also do normal attack, it will give Mauvika fighting spirit. So for the precise is 1.5 fighting spirit for every normal attack that you do. And also good stuff about this elemental burst is that you don't need 100% like usual elemental burst. Even you already have like 50% only full, you can already use the elemental burst, which is quite nice. You can choose like to use like 50%, 60 or above, something like, or even 100%. So yeah, this burst is typical like quiet new way for you to use your burst. As for Mavuika combat passive, there's two, which is first one, whenever you trigger Night Soul Burst by any nearby party member, Mavuika attack will increase by 30%. So this is why also like Natlan character quite helpful to give her also to get this passive. Another thing is that after you use your elemental burst, every point of your fighting spirit that you consume, it will increase the damage of the current active party member by 0.2%, and the maximum increase is 40%. So yeah, that's why in here that this one can beneficial like either Mauvika itself, or even you want to, after you use burst, you want to change, let's say you want to change to, let's say, like Mualani. Yes, Mualani can get this buff, or even you want to change like other main DPS that not Natlan, you will still get, let's say, like Raiden, something like that. It will work after you use your burst. So yeah, that's pretty much that's it. So overall, Mavuika Kit is relatively simple. To explain you even more simple is that her skill basically has two options. First is tap. So if you tap, she can work as an off-field DPS. So you can change to another character and she will do this fire shower basically. Another thing is that when you hold, then this is her on-field main DPS. She will summon this motorcycle and you can even do any normal charge and even plunging attacks. And for her burst, it's basically just a big nuke damage, like slashing sword like this, and yeah, see, a big damage. And take notes, her burst is not like traditional like energy like elemental burst. This one, the energy is using fighting spirit. So to get this fighting spirit, you need two conditions. First, if your any party member trigger Night Soul points, which is mostly for Nathan character that can only trigger, then yeah, she will gain this fighting spirit. And second, whenever your any like party member hit with normal attack, she will get also fighting spirit. So that's the two way for you to get elemental burst charge in here. And you can even use only even like 50%, you don't need 100%. And another thing is that if you ask how to play Mavuika, so if you ask like to play Mavuika as on fielder, most likely we want to start with burst, because after you use your burst, it will increase her normal and charge attack. So after you use burst and then you use this your skill in here and just do this like combo in here in motorcycle, and then your basically on-field damage will become like buff. And regarding how strong she is, then it's usually always hard if you didn't see anything from beta, so it's most likely spoiler. But I think right now people already have early access, so I don't think like it's become problem anymore. I just spill everything. So overall, she actually very strong main DPS. Technically the best Pyro DPS, even beating Arlecchino. I'm not even kidding. But I want to say it has a little bit notes that I want to say in here is that yes, she is the stronger in terms of Pyro DPS. However, you need to utilize this burst and make sure it's crit and it trigger elemental reaction, let's say like vaporize or melt. If this one not crit or it's not have any elemental reaction, and that's where she can become around the same with Arlecchino. So her way to, in order to still to become stronger than Arlecchino, is from this burst. And then the thing that I want to mention is that although she actually very strong, probably some people will not really enjoy to playing her because her gameplay is quite brain dead. It's basically only charge attack. Like you will see the spinning attack in here. If you take a look, yeah, that's the one that you want to spam all the time. You don't need to do normal attack because that's the best rotation that you need to do. Like keep doing charge attack, which is for me, honestly, it's quite boring. So yeah, maybe some of you, if you feel like don't really care about like the power itself, then you might be not like it for some people because you just basically hold charging attack. And the thing that I want to mention regarding Mauvika is that although she's very strong, in terms of using feeling, like gameplay playstyle wise, it's quite janky compared, let's say, like to Arlecchino. Because Arlecchino is more, I can say, smooth to play. She is because she has this Night Soul that you can switch between one another. It's very prone for you to use the wrong one. Or sometimes she has like this normal charge attack that's very slow in here. You can take a look. You sometimes can trigger this because you don't know like which one like Night Soul that you like click accidentally, and you accidentally use this like off field and then you do charge attack. Yeah, you waste your rotation. So sometimes using Mauvika, it's not feel that smooth. It's quite janky because she has two mode. It's basically if you play Kachina, you kind of understand what I mean. Kachina have two way also, right? You can write the drill or like unwrite the drill, something like that. Somehow you kind of messed up sometimes, so it's quite annoying. Yeah, same with Mauvika. So in terms of playstyle, although she's very strong, maybe some people will not enjoy because she has some this jankiness. But if you only care about the match and the power, yes, she is the strongest. And that's about her mostly as an on-field DPS. But right now, how about as an off-fielder? Can she provide like a good amount, let's say like support, pyro application, something like that? And I can say it's not really great. It's decent, but nothing crazy. I can say Xiangling's still better in every single way, especially if you care about application. Because as much as they say they want to make fusion between off-field and on-fielder, it's not really that great in on-field. She mostly I can say 70% will be utilized or even 80% as a main DPS or on-field main DPS, no as a off-field. Yes, she still can work as an alternative if you want to use Xiangling, let's say on the other half, and you can use her as another off-field, sure you can, but it will be much slower. I'll give you example, if you pair Furina with Mualani, you in that team, you cannot just use Mauvika, you need another Pyro. So in that case, just better to use Xiangling because Mavuika Pyro application, it's not enough to support like both Furina and Mualani. So you will end up not vaporizing on your Mualani. So yes, you can still will pair with, let's say, like Mualani, but you cannot use Furina if you just want Mavuika as a Pyro Offielder. So in very short, like her off-field capability is not really amazing. It's decent, but it's not like, don't expect like something as good as like other Archon like Nahida or even Furina. It's not near that. It's not even close. However, maybe some of you argue that, but she still have some buffing capability, right? That give you 40%. Like if you switch to another member, sure, you can do that too. So that's why in here is that instead you can just use as a traditional off-fielder. This is where we use her as a, we can say like as a nuke sub DPS. So we don't utilize not the Pyro application, but we just swap her just for her big nuke damage and to utilize this. And that the case that can work. One of the example is Chaska team. In Chaska team, basically off-field not really so much important, right? As long like the team have like 3 different like elements or at least 2 elements, it can works already because the bullet like variation element that's more important. So after you use your Chaska rotation, you just move to Mauvika and then just use the big nuke damage and change back to Chaska and get this basically the buff itself, and yeah, it works. So something like that can work. Another team also like Nuvillet, it can works because Nuvillet is typical character that you don't need a literally fast Pyro application because he is already just too strong. So individually strong by another character and have a little bit buff, that's already good enough. And also there's a thing that I want to clarify, which is I know some people already say is that because Mavuika Elemental Verse is very dependent on like triggering Night Soul and even normal tech, and some people will say, oh yeah, without Silonen, she cannot work, or without Citlali or Natlan character, she cannot work as a character itself or as a main DPS. Then I can say is that it's yes and no. The thing why I say yes to, because in order for you to get the optimal damage of her, yes, you need Natlan character. If not, you will have hard time to maximize the 100% of the fighting spirit. However, the thing why I say also no, even without like 100% of the fighting spirit, she deal already high damage. Even Loki better than Yuimiya and Ayato. Yeah, that's the sad truth. So even you don't maximize her fighting spirit, it's already strong enough to clear Spiral Beast. So you should not worry that, yeah, even you don't have this Natlan character, you feel like, oh, you cannot clear any content. Nope, she will still slay. It's just like, compared to the one that have full Natlan team, it will be much more optimized and much more damage. That's about it. And now let's move into build for Mavuika, and let's start first with the 5-star weapon. For the 5-star weapon, the best one, of course, her signature, whatever it is, that will be the best one. Other than that, Red Horn still pretty much good because it gives you critical damage. That's good for the stats itself, and also it still buff charge attack for Mavuika, which is still nice. Next, relatively you don't overcap your career rate. There are a couple of the weapon in here that relatively very good alternative, or at least become a good alternative, which is first is Beacon of the Red Sea. It gives you career rate and it gives you another attack buff, so pretty good for Mavuika itself. Second is Verdict, the signature weapon of Navia. This is also very good weapon for Mavuika because it gives you career rate and also gives you attack buff, so similar like Beacon of the Red Sea. However, there's one more, which is Fang of the Mountain King. This is Kinich signature. It gives you crit rates a little bit worse compared to the other two, but still pretty much relatively a good option because it still gives you buff of skill and burst. Lastly, Wolf Gravestone and the Unforged is still pretty much okay weapon. It gives you mostly attack buff, and especially Wolf Gravestone is more versatile because Unforged you need shield. But yeah, in the end they're still pretty much okay. But I just want to give you a remind, if you put with Bennett and use this weapon, the buff will be less significant because Bennett already give you a bunch of attack buffs. And now let's talk about the 4-star option. So for the best 4-star option for Mauvika, assuming you don't overcap your career rate, it will be Serpent Spine. Because not just give you crit rate, it give you more damage to Mauvika, and that's really nice. However, I want to highlight like there's annoying part about this weapon is that in order for you to get the max stacks or max buff, you need to wait. So every single like chamber in your abyss, let's say if you do that, you need to wait, which is quite annoying. So keep that in mind. Next, assuming you only play mostly in a reaction, this will become the best for free to play option, which is Melt Flower. This is technically weapon from event, so if you have this, you should be happy because this weapon can be the best free-to-play option if you keep playing in reaction because it gives you EM and give you a bunch of attack and elemental mastery increase. Very good for Mauvika. Another which is Tidal Shadow. Assuming you don't have Melt Flower from event, then this can be a secondary the best free-to-play option. And this also can work if you want to play in mono Pyro because it's not have to be in reaction because the effect is just general. After you get heal, then you will get attack increase, which is straightforward and Mauvika can utilize. Also, if you have Black Cliff, this is still pretty much an okay weapon because it gives you crit damage. It just like in order for you to get the fully buff, you need to defeat the opponent. Next is Talking Stick. This weapon still pretty much decent assuming you don't overcap your crit rate because it gives you attack buff and also elemental damage by affecting like certain element, which is still pretty much decent. Other than that, then okay option which is the Luxurious Sea Lord, it's still pretty much okay, gives you attack and buff burst damage. And lastly, which is Macaira Aquamarine. If you play mostly in reaction, this is still pretty much okay, especially it can give you bonus attack buff, still pretty much okay. Now let's talk about the artifact sets. So the best artifact sets in general for Mauvika will be Obsidian Codex, just because this set in general very good for any main DPS that come from Natlan. So that's Mauvika. She is from Natlan and also mostly as a main DPS. 2-piece will increase your damage and that's actually nice, and 4-piece is the one that we're really looking forward, which is whenever you consume your Night Souls, it will increase your crit rate by 40%. So most of the case when you equip this, you don't need to care so much about crit rate. So that's why it's very convenient in terms of like quality of life. It's very nice. However, if you maybe don't farm this domain yet, don't have yet, then you can have couple alternatives. First is Crimson Witch of Flame. 2-piece will give you Pyro damage bonus, which is classic, nice in general for Pyro character. 4-piece will increase any Pyro related reaction damage, so pretty much still nice. Cannot fully utilize this, but still at least decent, especially if you have superior substat, it can compensate even more. Another alternative which is Gilder Dreams, this is still also decent. It gives you EM, pretty much still nice for Mauvika because Mauvika will mostly want to play in a reaction, especially like Melt. This will be kinda useful. And 4-piece depends on your team, it can give you attack and EM, which is still nice for Mauvika. So this is at least decent too. Lastly, Hunter set. This set actually good for Mauvika. However, again, this set is only working mostly if you pair with Furina. Because if you don't pair with Furina, it's quite hard for you to trigger because it's very situational. But in the end, if you still don't have any solid 4-piece set, then you can just go with 2-piece, just any 2-piece of Pyro damage bonus, attack, EM, between those elements, you can just combine that. As for the main stat, let's start with the sets. So for the sets in general, you can have 2 options. So first, if you care more about the elemental reaction damage and you want to see just a big damage, then I really recommend for you to go with EM or Elemental Mastery because that can unlock potential for you to see even bigger number. However, if you want more, let's say like stable in general, not really depend on reaction, or even you want to play in mono Pyro, then you can go with attack percentage. For the Goblet, just go with the classic Pyro damage bonus. And as for Circlet, usually very depends. If you need more crit rate, then go for crit rate. If you need more crit damage, then go for crit damage. But if you already have Obsidian Codex, mostly you want critical damage. As for subset for Mavuika, pretty much straightforward. Crit rate, crit damage, attack percentage, and elemental mastery. As for team comp for Mavuika, in general, she has a lot of different team because you can play her, let's say like in classic main DPS and even like quick swap nuke. So in here, it kinda unlock her into different type of playstyle and team. But in here, I will just cover you in general what is the main highlight. I will not cover everything, it will be too long. So some of them probably relatively meta, some of them just for fun. So for the team format, Mavuika will not far from Bennett, Citlali, and Silonen. Of course, you can just pair these 3 characters together in a team along with Mavuika, it will become one of her best team. So Mavuika, Bennett, Citlali, and Silonen can become one of her best team. mostly we will play in Melt, and Citlali literally synergize very well with Mauvika. However, of course, you can just change, like let's say you don't have Silonen, you can just put Bennett, Citlali, and you can put another Cryo, let's say Shenhar or even Kaya, it can work. Or even you can just put also like Bennett, Citlali with another animal, let's say like Kazuha. Or even then, if you don't maybe have Citlali, then you can just put Bennett, Furina with Silonen. That also can work. Next, the team that usually you can use her as a off-fielder or even like as a quick swap nuke. First, in the Nuvilette team, you can just put basically Nuvilette, Mavuika, and also like you can put Furina. And the last one that's actually free, you can just put maybe another Electro. Let's say we can say or Auroron in there, or even you want to put Silonen also still fine, or even like Fischl, it also can work. Chaska also still pretty much team that you can pair with Mavuika, which is Chaska, Mavuika. You can put even Auroron and Bennett, or you want to change Auroron with also like maybe Furina, that also can work. Kinich also still pretty much good with Mavuika because you can utilize also not just like in burning, but also utilize as a quick swap nuke. You can put like Kinich, Emily, Mavuika, and Bennett, that also can work pretty good. Moalani also still pretty much okay. You can put with Moalani, Xiangling, Mavuika, and another animal, maybe like Sucrose, Kazuha, that can also still work. So yeah, that's pretty much it regarding Mavuika per percent guide. Overall, she is mostly specialized as an on-field main DPS, so that's the full value of her as an on-field main DPS. And yeah, in that scene alone, she actually very strong. Literally the best Pyro main DPS, already even beat Arlecchino. And I know some people quite disappointed, like why her specialty is mostly some on-field main DPS, no as a like off-fielder or as a buffer, like usually Nahida or Furina, where usually it's giving like mostly other character to shine. Yeah, sadly, Mavuika is not the case. She's not even beating Bennett or Xiangling. I know some people already feel like hopefully she will beat like Xiangling so we can use Mavuika as an off-field or something like that. Sadly, she is not like that, because yes, she has off-field capability, but it's rather slow. It's always worse version than Xiangling in terms of Pyro app. And as for buff, not as great as Bennett. She has both actually, but it only feels like hanging. So because of that, yes, sure, you can still use her as an off-field main, like as an off-fielder, but rather in different approach that I already say, like as a quick swapper nuke damage. And that's the thing that I can find like the interesting part about Mauvika. It's pretty much that's it. So if you like this video, feel free to hit the bell button, like, and also next time. Bye bye.